You're about to uncover the single most liberating truth about weight loss that the fitness industry desperately doesn't want you to know. Whilst everyone else is trapped in their calorie-counting prison, frantically scanning barcodes and weighing broccoli like it's gold dust, there's a completely different game being played by those who actually succeed long-term. The dirty secret? The people who stay lean effortlessly have never counted a single calorie in their lives. They've cracked a code that makes the entire weight loss industry look like an elaborate scam designed to keep you dependent, obsessed, and ultimately failing. Here's what's really happening. Every time you count calories, you're training your brain to think like a starving person. You're literally rewiring your neural pathways to obsess over food, to see it as scarce, to hoard it mentally even when you're trying to restrict it physically. It's psychological warfare against yourself, and you're losing every single battle. The moment you start calculating whether you can afford that apple, you've already lost the war. The truth is, your body has a weight regulation system that's infinitely more sophisticated than any app on your phone. It's been keeping humans alive for millions of years without a single calorie counter in sight. But here's the brutal reality. You've been systematically destroying the system with your well-intentioned tracking, and now you're stuck in a metabolic prison of your own making. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to tap back into your body's natural weight regulation system and lose weight without ever counting another calorie again. Picture this. You're sitting in your kitchen at 9 p.m., phone in hand, desperately trying to figure out if you can squeeze in those last 200 calories before bed. Your stomach is growling, but your app says you're done for the day. You're literally holding a conversation with a piece of software about whether you're allowed to eat. This is not normal human behavior. This is the behavior of someone who's been psychologically conditioned to distrust their own body. I can't eat that, I don't have enough calories left, you tell yourself as if you're rationing supplies during wartime. But here's the thing that nobody talks about. Every time you have this internal conversation, you're reinforcing the belief that food is scarce, that your body can't be trusted, that you need external validation to make basic survival decisions. You're literally training yourself to ignore hunger cues, to override satiety signals, to live in a constant state of food anxiety. The people who stay naturally lean don't have these conversations. They eat when they're hungry, they stop when they're satisfied, and they never, ever feel guilty about it. They've maintained their natural relationship with food, whilst you've been busy destroying yours in the name of health. Here's what's really happening in your brain. Every time you count calories, you activate your scarcity mindset. Your ancient survival mechanisms kick in, flooding your system with hunger hormones, slowing down your metabolism, and making you obsess over food. You're literally fighting millions of years of evolution with a smartphone app, and you're wondering why you can't win. The brutal truth is that calorie counting works in the short term precisely because it triggers your body's starvation response. You lose weight initially because your body thinks it's in famine mode. But then what happens? Your metabolism adapts, your hunger hormones go haywire, and you end up heavier than when you started. You've just taught your body that food is scarce and it needs to hold on to every calorie for dear life. Now, before you roll your eyes and think this is another just eat intuitively sermon, let me stop you right there. Intuitive eating, as it's commonly taught, is complete bollocks for most people. It's like telling someone who's been in prison for 20 years to just be free the moment they walk out. Your food instincts have been so thoroughly corrupted by years of dieting, processed foods, and calorie counting that you couldn't recognize genuine hunger if it slapped you in the face. Trust your body, they say. But your body doesn't know the difference between real hunger and the dopamine hit from engineered food. Your body can't distinguish between emotional eating and physical need. Your body has been hijacked by food scientists who've designed products specifically to override your satiety signals. So no, you can't just trust your body when your body has been systematically deceived for years. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your hunger cues are probably broken. Your satiety signals are likely damaged. Your relationship with food has been so thoroughly corrupted that you wouldn't recognize natural eating patterns if they came with a manual. This isn't your fault, but it is your responsibility to fix it. The real solution isn't to count calories or to blindly trust your broken instincts. It's to systematically rebuild your relationship with food from the ground up. It's to retrain your brain to recognize what actual hunger feels like, what genuine satisfaction tastes like, and what your body actually needs versus what it's been conditioned to crave. This process requires you to become a detective of your own body. You need to start paying attention to subtle cues you've been ignoring for years. How does your energy change throughout the day? What foods make you feel genuinely satisfied versus temporarily full? When are you eating because you're actually hungry versus when you're eating because you're bored, stressed, or simply because it's time to eat? The people who maintain their weight effortlessly have preserved these natural instincts. They've never been on a diet, never counted calories, never had to earn their food through exercise. They eat when they're hungry, they stop when they're satisfied, and they trust their body's wisdom because it's never been systematically betrayed. Your metabolism isn't a fixed number that you can calculate with an equation. It's a dynamic, adaptive system that responds to everything you do, think, and feel about food. Every time you've restricted calories, your metabolism has adapted downward. Every time you've binged after a period of restriction, it's learned to store more fat, just in case. You've trained your body to be efficient at storing energy and inefficient at burning it. The conversation happening in your cells right now goes something like this: she's restricting again. Better slow everything down and hold on to whatever we can get. Remember last time? She starved us for 3 months, then fed us nothing but cake for a week. We can't trust her. Your metabolism isn't broken. It's protecting you from what it perceives as your own self-destructive behavior. Here's the brutal reality: your body doesn't care about your aesthetic goals. It cares about keeping you alive. And from its perspective, you've been consistently threatening its survival with your yo-yo dieting patterns. So it's adapted accordingly, becoming incredibly efficient at storing fat and incredibly reluctant to burn it. The only way to reset this system is to prove to your body that food is abundant, that starvation isn't coming, that it's safe to burn energy freely again. This means eating consistently, eating enough, and eating without guilt or restriction. It means abandoning the feast or famine mentality that's been driving your weight struggles for years. Most people can't handle this truth because it requires them to gain weight initially whilst their metabolism heals. It requires them to trust a process that seems counterintuitive to everything they've been taught about weight loss. But here's what happens when you commit to this approach. Your metabolism gradually increases, your hunger hormones rebalance, your energy stabilizes, and your body naturally settles at its optimal weight. The people who stay lean effortlessly have never damaged their metabolism with extreme restriction. They've maintained their body's trust by never betraying it with artificial scarcity. Their metabolism runs hot because it's never had to adapt to survive famine conditions. The reason you keep failing at weight loss isn't because you lack willpower or because you're addicted to food. It's because you're playing a rigged game with rules designed to keep you trapped in cycles of restriction and rebellion. Every calorie you count is a vote for the belief that your body can't be trusted. Every macro you track is reinforcement that you need external control to make basic biological decisions. You want to know the real secret to effortless weight management? It's treating food like oxygen. You don't count your breaths, you don't track your oxygen intake, you don't feel guilty about breathing. You simply breathe when your body needs oxygen and trust that the system works. Food should be exactly the same. Eat when you're hungry, stop when you're satisfied, trust that your body knows what it's doing. But here's the part that nobody wants to hear. This approach requires you to give up the illusion of control. It requires you to stop playing the victim to your own body and start treating it like the sophisticated biological machine it is. It requires you to abandon the diet mentality that's been keeping you trapped in cycles of temporary success followed by inevitable failure. The hardest part isn't learning to eat without counting calories. The hardest part is learning to trust yourself again after years of self-betrayal. It's learning to distinguish between genuine hunger and emotional eating. It's learning to sit with discomfort without immediately reaching for food or restriction as a coping mechanism. Most people aren't willing to do this work because it requires them to face the uncomfortable truth that their weight struggles aren't really about food at all. They're about control, about self-worth, about using their body as a battleground for unresolved emotional issues. The weight is just the symptom. The real disease is the relationship you have with yourself. You don't lose weight by fighting your body. You lose weight by making peace with it. You don't achieve lasting change through force and restriction. You achieve it through trust, consistency, and treating yourself with the same compassion you'd show a friend. The people who stay effortlessly lean aren't superhuman. They haven't cracked some mysterious code or found the perfect diet. They've simply maintained their natural relationship with food whilst you've been busy destroying yours. They eat when they're hungry, they stop when they're satisfied, and they never, ever feel guilty about it. Your body knows how to regulate its weight. It's been doing it successfully for millions of years. The question isn't whether it can do it for you. The question is whether you're finally ready to stop interfering with the process. You don't get your natural relationship with food back by counting calories. You get it back by never needing to count them again.